Morning, guys. Yesterday we talked about moving forward with determination. Today I want us to think of ourselves in terms of being an energy source. And our greatest energy is our thoughts. So I challenge us today, and from this point on, to move and tune into the channel of positive thought energy. The channel of positive thought energy. So today, things are going to come at us from the outside world. Negative things, most likely, but also some positive things. I want us to look at ourselves as a TV channel or a radio station. We have the ability to control the thought energy, that source, and align with that. So when something negative happens today, I want you to quickly think about what's going on with the energy of your thoughts. See if you can even take one moment where you change the channel into the channel of positive thought energy. I hope this helps everyone. Have a great day.
What does the meditation process specifically look like?
Dead simple. So I use what I call just breathe. So it was born of Mark Divine's box breathing. At least he was the one that introduced it to me. So he preaches do it 4 equal parts. So you've got the inhale is the exact same length as the inhale hold, exact same length as the exhale, exact same length as the exhale hold. Now doing that made me feel out of breath. I just felt weird. So what I started doing was I'm going to maximize the pleasure in each part of the breath cycle. So for me, it happens to be a sort of medium inhale, a very short inhale hold, a rapid exhale. I just let the air out. And then a very prolonged exhale hold. And that rhythm feels awesome. And I do that for 10 or 15 minutes and I can get into an alpha wave state. I feel calm, creative. It just feels awesome. That's one of those things that people that haven't tried meditation or tried it but never got to the part where it feels awesome, my heart breaks for them. It is a tool I rejected for so many years because it felt wussy to me. And remember, I'm the guy that had to learn to toughen up. So I feared that was like backwards momentum. And so finally, when Mark Divine looked at me and was basically like, stop being an idiot and try this. And he's like this tough ass Navy SEAL. I thought, all right, I'm going to try. And then it changed my life.
So I have a slightly different take on meditation. And if you've been struggling with meditation in your life, this might help. I first off believe in the power of meditation. I believe the science, I believe all the studies, and I used to judge myself and feel really bad about it because I felt like I couldn't meditate. I would sit there on the couch or on the pillow or on the bed or lie down, and I never felt anything when I was meditated. I could sit and I could be present and I could do it and I could sit there for 20 minutes and it felt like 20 minutes. But I never felt any different. I think that was where it started to shift for me, is not that I didn't feel anything in the moment, but I never felt any different coming out. And I've meditated with some of the best meditation teachers on the planet. And it's never really led to an impact for me in the moment or afterwards or sustained. And I, again, would judge myself really harshly, like, hey, I want to make this work. How do I make this work? I believe in the science. Let's go and make it work. What I've distilled it down to is into 2 parts. One is a lot of meditation, a lot of benefits I believe from meditation are really just about being present and being mindful. And that is something that I can do a lot more naturally than maybe most people. And I don't find a lot of benefit in it because I'm more there than not. So I'm 85% present, 15% future focused, and 0% past focused. When you are thinking about the past, it's usually in a really negative way. Sometimes we look backwards and to the past, and it's gratitude and remembering great memories and looking at all the great things we've done. But for the most part, when you look backwards, it's negative. It's regrets. It's I wish I did this, or why did that person do that to me, or I wish I had said something different. We're looking negatively on our past, mostly through the lens of regret and what you did or what other people did. And when you're looking forward, entrepreneurs love looking forward and the vision and the building and what you can create and all the amazing things. But a lot of looking forward is also uncertainty and stress and anxiety in what may happen and what could happen and what might happen if X happens. And just we're stuck in these negative loops. a lot of the backwards thinking is negative through the lens of regret, and a lot of the forward thinking is negative through the lens of anxiety, stress, and worry. And so that's where, hey, if you're present minded, you're going to be a lot happier. You're going to be a lot more focused, right? If you're just thinking about what you should have done or what might happen to you, you're not actually able to be productive and get stuff out right now in the present. And so the job becomes, how do I stay present? And I think a lot of that is accomplished through meditation for most people. If you're in a state of stress, thinking about the regret of the past or anxiety about the future, I think meditation can be incredibly helpful to help you get back to present, even just focusing on your breath, breathe in, breathe out. Even something as simple as that can help calm you down and get you back to the present moment, which then allows you to be able to be productive, solve the problem, be happy, because you're being more present. So for me, that's actually quite easy. I'm in the present a lot more than anywhere else. And I used to think it as a negative. A friend of mine used to make fun of me for having a bad memory. He's like, you have such a bad memory. It's like, and I later realized I don't have a bad memory. I one, remember what's important to me, but two, I'm not living in the past. Like I don't care about what happened. I'm looking at right now, today. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what day it is. I don't know. I know it's 2022 when recording this. I'd have to think about what month it is. I don't know what I'm doing after recording this video. I don't know what I did yesterday. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, let alone once I press stop on this video. I am here with you. This is my entire attention, is making this video right now. That's it. This is the present moment for me. And what I've discovered is this is meditation. At least the portion of it where you're getting back to present moment. If that's one of the main benefits of meditation, then this is meditation for me. I'm only in the present moment right now, being here, talking with you guys, and that's it. And I realize that most of my life is lived like that. Yes, I love planning for where I'm going to go, but most of my time isn't spent in planning. It's in executing, in doing. And I have to look at my calendar to see what I'm doing tomorrow or what I'm doing. When somebody asks me on a Wednesday, what's your weekend going to look like? Weekend? I don't even know what I'm doing in the next hour, let alone what I'm doing this weekend. And when people ask me on a Monday, how was your weekend? It's like, I don't know. That was yesterday. That was 2 days ago. I got stuff to do right now. I'm working on my life right now. And not just work, even just enjoying, even just life, even just me spending time with my wife or my son or on a trip. It's like, let's enjoy this moment where we're at right now. And so if that's you, I would introduce the idea of, hey, that's a different perspective shift. Like maybe you are meditating right now and you might be overjudging yourself, because if you're in the present, that's one of the biggest benefits. One of my favorite things to do every morning is I go on a belief walk. And I found when a lot of people would say, oh, I get my best ideas when I'm meditating, I get creative breakthroughs when I'm meditating. Part of that I believe is, hey, you've unblocked yourself from the past and the future, the regrets of the past, the stress of the future, to get back to present, which then calms you down to then actually be more creative and solve the problem. I found I wasn't really getting answers. I wasn't getting solutions. I wasn't being very creative, sitting down, lying down, and having my body be still, where I get a lot more of my energy and creativity and ideas when I'm moving. So I get a lot of ideas when I'm walking. So I do a belief walk every morning, which is 30 to 60 minutes. I'll take the dogs out and then I'll go for a walk, usually to Tim Hortons, grab myself a coffee, Canadian coffee brain here, and no agenda. Just think about what am I doing today? You know, what day is it? What do I want to accomplish today? Take in some fresh air, get a fresh perspective. And the act of moving, I find, gets my creativity flowing a lot more. I get ideas in the shower, you know, when I'm moving. Have you got ideas in the shower? I think that's meditation. Maybe it's a different version of it or a different definition of it, but I think that's meditation, where you can calm down, when you can focus on present, and you get some great ideas that come. I'm selling my place. We just bought a new house. We're selling this place, and the studio looks a little different. Normally I'm filming in my car because we're running some errands, or my regular studio. And to get this place ready to sell, you know, we wanted to have a place that everybody could connect to. And so what my agent did was make an office in a different room, and I'm sitting down, and I have not sat down for 2 years. I don't know when the last time I sat down to actually work. And you might even notice me, like I'm shuffling around a little bit. Like I like to move. Normally I'm on a trampoline and I'm bouncing 20 to 40,000 times a day. And I got that because I would find that when I did phone calls, I would much rather stand up and walk around the office than just sit down. And so I'm a lot more creative and have a lot more energy when I'm moving. And maybe that movement in my energy creates movement in, you know, brain energy and capacity and thinking and creativity as well. But all of that is my form of meditation. And so anytime that I would challenge you to at least consider the fact that anytime that you're present, anytime that you are focused on something, that you can consider that part of the benefits of meditation. The second part of meditation that I haven't fully connected to yet and I don't have a solution for yet is when you access theta waves. And that's basically when you're bouncing between conscious and subconscious and where you feel like time flies. So for me, when I sit down or lie down doing a meditation, if it's 20 minutes, it feels like 20 minutes. And I don't think I'm hitting any theta levels. I can sit there and be present and focus on my breath, or, you know, I've chewed a cookie for half an hour or an hour and never swallowed it. You know, like the focus and the presence I can do, but it still feels like it's 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour. I've never had I sat down for an hour and it felt like I was only out for 5 minutes. I get that more through the work that I'm doing. I get that more. I recently did a 6-hour Q&A with Tom Bilyeu's Impact Community on his Discord, and it was 6 hours. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't take a break. I was reading the questions and answering the questions. My throat was burning. Didn't even notice it till the end, and that 6 hours flew. Where that felt, if you asked me how long was it, I would have said, I don't know, it was like 20 minutes, half an hour, like 6 hours. 6 hours later, still going. And then we eventually wrapped it up because I needed to go to dinner and hang out with my wife, where I said, yeah, I'm going to do this short little Q&A, and it turned out to be 6 hours. So maybe that's even a better form of meditation. Maybe when you're in your purpose and doing great work and time flies because you're having fun, maybe that is a better form of meditation for you if you struggle with just sitting down and meditating. Maybe doing that work is healing. You know, I think a lot of people meditate to heal. And I think a part of why that could work is because you're, again, removing the stress of the past, of the regret of the past, and removing the anxiety and stress of the future. And when your body's all stressed out, it's not going to heal, right? But when you can get back to present and remove the stress, you create the conditions for healing in your body. Well, I remember when I broke my neck in 2019 and I kept doing my tour, I kept staying on it because I wanted to be around entrepreneurs. I wanted to keep doing I could have canceled the tour, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but that became healing for me, in feeling like I was serving, that I was helping, sitting at the front of a room for 4 hours with immobilized, neck brace on, ice packs, you know, on my neck, 2 or 3 pillows behind me, and I couldn't move for 4 hours but just talk. That became healing for me. And so at least what's helped me for where I'm at right now, I'm totally open to new experiences and being changed and you know, swaying my opinion. But for where I'm at right now, staying present and doing not just the work, but doing activities that you enjoy, that you feel are in service to others, that you feel like you're living your purpose, that you feel like you're having an impact. Think about the things that you love doing where hours get lost. I'm not talking about like opening your phone and scrolling through Instagram when you realize that 2 hours have passed and like, how did I just waste all this time? Not that, but in service of others and helping. See, I'm moving around right now. I gotta move. I can't sit still. I don't like it. When I get in creative ideas, I gotta move. I play with my ring, you know, the ring is all over the place. It's not just on my finger. This gives me more creativity. Like the motion creates more creativity for me. And so if you find those things where you love doing, it's in service to others, it's helping people, time gets lost, and you feel it in your heart and your soul that this is the right thing for you to be doing for where you're at right now, that maybe that's, you know, maybe just maybe that's the form of meditation that you need the most. That by staying present and helping others and being in service, maybe that's all the healing that you need. Maybe that is the present mind that you need. Maybe that is the focus that you need. Maybe that is the meditation that you're already doing. And if that gives you some extra perspective or a different view on meditation than what you might hear other places, I hope that helps maybe judge yourself a little bit less, or maybe lean into something that you thought didn't exist, because it's certainly played a huge impact on my life. And thank you for allowing me to share this story with you.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Good morning, everyone. Today, in our top 10 rules for success journey, Warren Buffett introduces us to a concept, a phrase that I love, the circle of competence. This is what he uses to describe himself staying within a knowledge base that he understands well. And he also goes on to say that we should not care what other people think. And I think I understand the spirit of that. Of course, we want to care what people think, because ultimately it affects everyone, because thought energy is everywhere and we're transmitting it and absorbing it and detracting it every single minute. But I think the idea is that we want to be able to stay within what we know. So for example, I know myself that positive thought energy would lead to good things in my life. So if I stay in that circle of competence of what I know works, then that will become magnified and attract itself. So same thing with you. Stay within what you know. Take what people say because they care, but you do what you have to do. Have a great day, everyone.
Money is the equivalent of energy, so you can buy energy with your cash. And the significance about that is if you're frugal and take care of your money and keep a balance, then you always have this energy in your bank account, energy in which you can live. However, obviously, if you waste this energy, then you actually interfere with your own survival. So you don't really want to go out and just throw away your money. And so basically, I really want to show you that this is an important insight into the nature of our own health and our biology and the world we create in this regard. That our biological system, the cells, rely on energy. Without energy, there's no life. So fundamentally, you have an energy budget that gives you life. And in fact, in the body, energy is in coins called ATP, molecules that represent units of energy. So in fact, biologists refer to ATP as the coin of the realm. The significance of ATP is this, is that ATP molecules are like units of gasoline, like gallon of gas, that are used to fuel our biological processes. So to stay alive, we have to have all this ATP. So there's an ATP account in your body right now. But the question is, how do you use this ATP? And now here's an important fact, that 25% of the total energy in your whole body is used to operate your brain. So all of a sudden you start to recognize that the brain uses energy at the rate of muscles of a marathon runner. So brain and muscle activity are pretty much the same. And so why is this important? Because as you're using your brain, as you're using your thinking, you are actually using energy. Now, why is this relevant? The answer is very simply this. Because the way we've been using our thoughts are not necessarily productive. As a matter of fact, sometimes our investments of our thoughts are actually counterproductive because our thoughts create a reality that we then have to overcome. So basically it says that we must start to become aware of our thoughts. And why is this important? Because thoughts represent units of energy. Every time you have a thought, you use energy. Why this becomes relevant is if I give you a checkbook for your bank account, you don't go down the street and just write checks to people like, oh, hey, you're a nice looking guy. Here's $10 for you. And oh, here, little girl, go out and buy yourself a little car. Here's $1,000 for you. And you don't give away your money. Why? Because giving away your money is giving away your life. So basically, you become very frugal when you have a checkbook in your hand. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is this. You have an energy budget in your body. The energy is what keeps you alive. When you start using energy and writing checks where you get no return from your energy, then it's exactly the same as writing checks out of your bank checkbook and giving away your cash. So why this becomes important is the biology of belief reveals how our thoughts create our reality. And if you start investing in thoughts that are counterproductive, thoughts like fear, or what am I going to do, and how am I going to escape this problem, or how's this going to go wrong, and all these other kinds of thoughts that are negative kinds of thoughts, then realize this. You are actually not just using your energy for having these thoughts, but these thoughts are also what come into your reality. What you focus on with your thoughts, your brain will manifest as reality. Everything you do in your life, you put out energy for. Therefore, start to review what you're doing in your life. Because if you're putting your energy into things you cannot change in this world, that is exactly the same as writing a check and just throwing away your money to the outside because you get nothing back from it. So think about this very interesting reality that you have this energy checkbook. And every time you use energy, you have to say, is the use of this energy going to enhance my life, or is it just wasted energy? Am I getting involved in a political argument with people where I'm going to use up all my energy and will I have changed the world? No. Am I going to use up all my energy to try to convince other people to change their life or change their way of living to make them even healthier, and they're not ready to do that? I'd be wasting my energy. So here's an interesting thought. If I gave you an energy checkbook and asked you to write a check every time you had to have a thought, you would have to then ask yourself, is this thought going to enhance my life, or is this thought going to take away from my life? And then when you start to realize that, you start to direct your actions where you put your energy into things that enhance your life and give you an opportunity to survive and to go beyond survival and really into thriving. So the point is this, we are facing some rough times. The more thoughts you put into the negative aspect, the more thoughts you put into the fear, not only are you just wasting your energy, but as in the biology belief, these negative thoughts, these negative stresses actually impair your immune system and bring on disease itself. And in 1925, physicists said that our vision of a universe split into an invisible energy realm and a material physical realm was a total illusion. That everything is energy. The whole thing, there is no matter in this world. And to summarize what the meaning was, a famous physicist in 1930 by the name of Sir James Jeans said, "We have been led to believe that the universe is a great machine, when in fact it is more a great thought." And the reality about that was quantum physicists have established since 1925 that consciousness is the primary mechanism of creativity of the world that we experience. In fact, a more recent article in the journal Nature, which is like a scientific mainstream journal, was an article by a quantum physicist at Johns Hopkins University by the name of Richard Conn Henry. And his article was entitled "The Mental Universe." I know the last two lines in the article because they were like so powerful. And here's what the conclusion of the article was. The universe is immaterial. It's mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. And this is so exciting because science is coming out saying it mental and spiritual. It's like, oh my God. But that's the quantum physics part. And the reality about it, why is that so important, as Sadhvijay had just mentioned, it's our thoughts that are manifesting this world. Now you could say that's a spiritual thing, and now I say not only is it spiritual, now it is fundamental basic science of the universe. And it says then the thoughts are creative. Well, if the thoughts are creative, then who is having the thought? And you start to realize, I'm having the thought. Well, then the truth is simple, as Richard Conn Henry said, You are creating this world with your mental activity and your spirituality combined. And then all of a sudden it says, well, then if I'm creating the world, then my original belief that when things didn't go right, I was a victim. The universe wasn't supporting me. You know, it's like, oh, I try so hard and the universe is not giving me things. It turns 180 degrees around. And it basically says this: we are creating this world. And then I say, your mind is creating this world. And then I give you the science that says there are two minds that are operating at the same time. One is called the conscious mind, and one is called the subconscious mind. I say, what's the difference? The conscious mind is where you are as a spirit, an entity, a unique identity. You are in that conscious mind and perceiving the world. I say, what about the subconscious mind? It's not a creative mind. The subconscious mind is habits, things that you've learned and you experienced in your life, and they become habits. So the subconscious mind is not thinking, creating. The subconscious mind, push the button, play the behavior. So here's the point. When we are in our conscious mind, we are connecting our spirituality to the biology and the physical planet that we're in. And that is the creative mind. That's the one you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I wish I had this and I desire that and these are the things I want. And then you go out and start the day, and then guess what? 95% of the day, you are not operating from the conscious mind. Science has recognized 95% of the day, because we are thinking 95% of the day, our behavior is now controlled by the subconscious mind. I go, okay, so what's the difference? And the final conclusion of this is the conscious mind with your creativity has your wishes and your desires. The subconscious mind was programmed by other people, your mother, your father, your siblings, and your community. So what is the difference? You wake up with a wish and a desire of what you want, and then the rest of the day, you play the programs that you got from other people that don't answer your wishes and don't support your desires, and all you see is the consequence of it and go, oh my God, why is it not working? And the answer is because you don't see, because remember, the name is subconscious, below conscious. So when that behavior is playing, psychologists will tell us 70% or more of the programs in the subconscious are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting behaviors. So the simple reality is this: we have great wishes and desires, and yet our life is not controlled by that. Our life is controlled by the programming, and that programming is the disempowering program. So all you see is the consequence of the invisible subconscious, which will sabotage all the desires and wishes you have. And then to conclude that, what if you just didn't default to the subconscious? What if you just stayed in the conscious mind? That's called being mindful. And why is it relevant? Because when you stay conscious, keep your mind present, you are the creator of your life. And when people are in mindfulness, they manifest their wishes, their desires, and their happiness. So for all of us, it's sort of a wake-up call. You think you're running your life with your wishes and desires. It's an illusion. You're really running your life with your programs acquired from other people. When you're putting in a wish and a desire,
Morning, guys. In a world where the greatest challenge we face, or one of the greatest challenges we face, is our mind health, I want us to remember one thing. It is the one thing that is an absolute certainty in a world of uncertainty, fear, doubt, anxiety, depression, ignorance, all these negative things. One thing from here on in. Even if you don't understand it or believe it, I do. And I'll never stop. I'll always believe in this power in you and all of us. And it can change everything. It can save you in your darkest hour. And it is this: you have the most powerful thing in the universe. It's in here. Yes, you. Doesn't matter if you're a young child or 100 years old. You have the ability to control your mind, and you have the most powerful thing in the universe. I believe it. I'll never stop believing it.
You can't plan your life 30 years ahead. You don't need to. And I think that's a pressure that we put on ourselves, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Or what am I going to be doing when I'm 50? And it's like, well, actually, hopefully you'll be doing something that surprises you. And why not just let your life surprise you constantly? Why make it out like life is this like linear, perfect journey where like at 30, I'm going to do this, and at 40, I'm going to do this, and at 50, and it's like, well, life probably is not going to go like that. And that picture that you have rolling, because it won't fit in with what you're experiencing, that gap is the pressure that you feel in your life. The reason I'm saying don't put purpose on a pedestal is because then purpose becomes this heavy weight that you're carrying, and you're now like judging yourself that you don't know it. And if you instead make your goal to learn about purpose, learn about meaning, explore yourself, experiment, grow, now it becomes like, oh, I'm just experimenting, I'm just learning about myself. If you don't really have an interest, it's going to be really hard. And then when it comes to our soft skills, we go, oh, I'm a good communicator, I'm just going to stick to that, forget vulnerability. Or I'm a really good talker, forget listening. And that kind of all comes in together. And I think the point is that if we're always learning and figuring out a way to serve in whatever situation we're in, that's the best route for success, because that's something that no one can take away from you. We like stress out about not being motivated. We stress out about not finding purpose. But guess what? Just like you got to eat and shower, you have to find purpose in every day. I think that we have to get as intimate with our dark side as possible. And I feel like when you don't get that intimacy, you don't really understand it. I look back and I think, why did I do that? And it's just always been my desire to experiment, always been my desire to learn, always been my desire to be curious and find out more about myself. The first is to approach any situation with compassion and empathy. The other thing is to recognize that sometimes when we go through pain, it makes us pay attention. Like when we go through pain, it makes us pay attention. When things are going great, we often get complacent. We stop worrying, we get lazy, we don't worry about anything, we're just relaxing. And as soon as you feel pain, pain is a way of your body, of society, of the economy to force you to pay attention. So if you're being lazy and not eating right, your body reacts badly to tell you to stop doing that. So any pain that happens in your life, first of all, is saving you from more pain. And so for me, that's the shift that we have to go through. And that all comes from us deeply looking into our minds and going, where are these blocks turning up from? Where are they coming from? What are their roots? And then how can I replace them with the right conversation, the right dialogue internally? When it comes to your hard skills, focus on your strengths. When it comes to your soft skills, focus on your weaknesses. If you do those two things, your life will change dramatically. Because if you're good at something, you'll become exceptional at it.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Jay Shetty, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, embrace life's challenges.
Life is challenging. It's full of ups and downs. We think, I wish things could just be still. I wish things would stop changing. I wish my problems would go away. We want a life that's steady with a path that's flat. Yet as Deborah Evans once said, life is like an EKG. Without the ups and downs, you're not living. Because this is what a flat line looks like. And this is what a lifeline looks like. When we feel those highest highs, those extreme peaks, we're ecstatic to be on the summit. Then when we're in the lowest lows, those deep values, we're ready to submit. And so we try and play it safe and avoid all risks. But when we seek security and prioritize passiveness, we don't realize that a flat lifeline means we're dead. If we're always trying to live our lives at sea level, then we'll never see what life is truly about. That what we judge as good and bad are in fact deeply connected. How could we ever experience how wonderful happiness is if we never felt sadness? How could we taste the triumph of success if we never failed? How could we know the comfort of gratitude if we never experienced loss? Somehow we got the idea that being successful and moving forward in life means we're constantly moving up. But have you ever read a book, watched a movie, or seen a case study like that? They don't exist. Every story worth telling has peaks and valleys, successes and setbacks. Our brains are wired for novelty. When something's new, whether it's a fantastic surprise or a huge challenge, our brains light up. We thrive on learning and our opportunities to grow. Yet our brains also easily become accustomed to patterns, making it harder for us to change. Dramatic disruptions help us break these patterns and invite us to see and experience the world in a whole new way. And as it turns out, we're designed for change, all the way down to our cells. Your body is constantly being reinvented, replacing most of itself every 7 to 15 years, even down to our bones. The universe is constantly shifting, and we are part of that. When we try and resist change, it goes against our very nature. In the journey of life, we experience pleasure and pain. There'll be sunshine and rain, there'll be loss and gain, but we must learn to keep moving forward again and again. So if you opened your eyes this morning, if you were healthy enough to move about, to maybe get yourself some food, if you were able to go to a refrigerator and find that it was full and stocked, if you were able to put on some clothes, and if you had a roof over your head, just remember how grateful you can be for all those things we consider to be basic, but for others, they don't even have access to. We can't stop life's ups and downs, but we can change how we experience them. We can learn to go with life's flow. Because as Helen Keller once said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
Rule number 3, do something you love.
Whenever you give out any energy, love, hate, anger, kindness, you will always get it back, one way or another. Love is like a circle. Whatever love you give out, it always comes back to you. I was just showing Sally a Facebook memory backstage 7 years ago. I love Facebook reminders.
Look at this.
It showed me that I was speaking to this little group of students about 7 mistakes people make in their 20s. And it was a memory of a talk that I was giving 6 and 7 years ago. I released my first video 5 years ago. So 6 and 7 years ago, most people didn't know who I was and what I was doing. I had an event in London called Conscious Living. So it was on a Friday night in the city, and 5 to 10 people would show up every week. That's it, 5 to 10 people. And I remember loving it, and I remember feeling so happy and so grateful that 5 to 10 people showed up. And I feel the same way about the first 5 to 10 people that followed me and commented on my videos. And I feel the same way about the first 5 to 10 people when I finally got to meet them. And I found that if you can love one person, if you can deeply feel grateful for one person, then thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions will come from that. But if you struggle to be present and connected to that one person, it's really hard to be trusted by the universe with more. What is it that success looks like for you? And don't make it about a number. Don't make it about a count of views. Don't make it about a follower. Don't make it about a size of home, because those things are great for success, but they're not great for happiness. My measure of success is, can I wake up and do something I love every day?
Rule number 4, never doubt yourself.
I think we've come to a place where we feel that freedom and the freedom of unlimited choice is power. And we've all realized, and the science and the studies all show this, that the more choice we have, the worse mistakes we make. And we make poorer decisions based on this complete limitless choice. And I found that actually when you stripped away some of that choice, your ability to make decisions grew.
My meditation teacher said to me, even in a shallow dive, you get wet, so still do it.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. The first step is learning to appreciate where you are. Because if we can't appreciate where we are, we will never appreciate where we get to. And I often say to people, like, you're exactly where you need to be. And we're scared of accepting that because we're like, well, I don't like being here. But that's because we don't see it as part of our story. And then the third part of it truly is that I've seen the most powerful dreams be linked to service and impact. And so when your dream expands into having a service element, you get the opportunity to work harder than you've ever dreamed of. You're able to learn things that you never believed you could because we're so phenomenal at extending ourselves beyond what we know for people that we love and people we want to serve.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, appreciate every person in your life.
I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made, and I think we make as humans, is we often look for divinity in humanity. You're looking for that divine person that has all the answers and that is infallible and perfect. And when you seek divinity in humanity, you're left with insecurity and anxiety because no one fulfills that divine search. And so for me, what I really had to understand as I went down that road and felt like I was let down and felt like people made me feel unworthy or unequipped was I recognized that there were 4 pillars of relationships. And they are care, competence, consistency, and character. Every single person in your life is going to be able to give you, or should be able to give you, at least one of these 4 characteristics. Very rarely, if ever, will one person give you all 4. And if you're lucky, you might have a few people in your life that give you 2 or 3. So let's talk about each of them. Care. My mom. There is no one in the world who cares for me more than my mom. She would do anything for me. She'd be there for me. All she wants to make sure, doesn't matter what I've achieved or what I've done. If she picks up the phone to me, her first question is, have you eaten? What did you eat? Are you safe? Are you healthy? Right? Like that's all she cares about. Now, my mom isn't the person that I go to for business advice, or she's not the person, I'm saying hypothetically, that I go to for social media advice. That's not her competence, but she doesn't need to be. She cares for me, and that's what I get from her. Now, let's go to competence. If I'm thinking about starting a business, new dragon over here, right? Like you'd be a great friend to call up. You're someone who understands what it takes to get investors, scale a business, build teams, manage internationally, grow, scale, sell. Like you have that journey and you have that network, you have that career.
I'd also care about you.
I know you also care about me. So I've got 2 out of 4 in you. And you got good character. You don't have the consistency though, because we don't see each other enough. So 3 out of 4.
75%.
Yeah, 75%. And so for me is that perfect example of there's competence there and there is care there, which is wonderful. And there's character there. I believe you're someone of good character. And that's the next one, character. There are some people in our life that hold us to higher values. They help us grow with greater integrity. They help us see things beyond what we're chasing. They make us look beyond our desires and make us recognize that there's so much more to life. And those people are massively important. And those people may not be the people we see every week. They may not be the people we see every day. They may not be the people that we call up, but you need them as your compass. The people with character are your compass. And then finally, you have the people that are consistent. You have some mates that you just know are always going to pick up the phone. You know that if you need to move house, you've got a family emergency, you know which friend you call. They may not be the competent business advisor. They may care about you, but they don't care about you as deeply as your mom does, but they are consistently always there for you. And that's beautiful. But the problem is, when we look at our consistent friend, we think, well, why are you not competent? And we look at our competent friend, we think, why don't you have good character? We look at our character friend and say, well, why aren't you always there? And so we're always looking for which C they don't have, rather than appreciating for them for exactly what they bring to our life.
Rule number 6, become more self-aware.
On a mental level, what's self-awareness? Knowing what type of people I like to be with. Knowing who helps me grow and who drains me. That's mental self-awareness. So self-awareness at every level, and then we go into the spiritual consciousness level. That's disconnecting from all these identities and understanding the identity that we are wired for generosity and we're wired to serve. And only in service can we be happy. And that's us on a consciousness level. That's the identity of consciousness. Like water is wet, the sun is heating and light. Consciousness is service. Like that's how it fits.
Why are we wired for that?
We're wired for that because all of us as consciousness have been designed, and we see it since like even kids. Like I was giving this example of this beautiful, and you may have seen it, it went viral on Instagram. It was this little girl, probably about 2 years old, watching a cartoon, and she takes a handkerchief and the cartoon character's crying, and she goes up to the television and she tries to wipe it off, right? And it's incredible because this girl's 2 years old and she thinks this cartoon character animal's crying, and she gets a real tissue and tries to wipe it on the TV. Obviously it doesn't work. And there's another one that I saw with this statue of this rabbit, and there's like 4 rabbits and one rabbit's like falling off the end, and this little boy is trying to push the rabbit up, but it's a stone rabbit, it's just a statue, but he's trying to help it back up. So we see, and there was a great article in Wired about this, about how we're wired for generosity. Our brain is happier in service. This whole world is almost a school, an education system to make us realize that one truth. And we see that when we're serving, when we're doing that, we feel genuine happiness. But when we're trying to gain and greed and power and strength, we even feel empty as it slips through our fingers. So the why is because that allows us to connect to our deepest self, the happiest self that we have. And modern studies have shown that. So Michael Norton at Cambridge University, he did a study where they gave people $5, $10, $20 to spend on themselves. Have you seen this?
Go ahead though.
Yeah, and then they spent $5, $10, $20 on others. So people spent $5, $10, $20 on makeup, Starbucks, and normal stuff, right? That was the three makeup, Starbucks, and then something else, I can't remember. And then people who spent on other people, they also bought the same stuff. Starbucks was still in there, and they're buying all this stuff. What they found is that when people self-assess their happiness before and after, without knowing about this A/B test, people who spent the money on themselves didn't feel any happier or any less happier. But the people that spent on others felt 10 to 20% happier. And then he went and tried this out. This was a college in the United States. They then went and did it in Africa, they did it all over the world, and the stats and the pattern showed the same. Wow. That we're wired for generosity, we're wired to serve, to make us realize that that's our real nature, that's our greatest self-awareness.
Rule number 7, be of service to others.
I'd say that in my heart and my intention, I've only wanted to do good for others and serve others and support others. So even when I started creating content, or even when I worked in the city, or when I became a monk, my intention was always to serve and to help others. My intention was never motivated by big results or anything that's happened in my life today. I never thought it would happen. And I never even believed that was the goal or that was the reason I was doing it. The reason I was doing it was I believed that I uncovered this incredible wisdom and I wanted to share it. That was it. And so I think sometimes our intention gets dirty or messy. Sometimes really our intention is ego-driven, or sometimes it's money-driven, or sometimes it's results-driven. And none of those things are bad. You can have money, you can be famous, you can be successful. But if that is your reason for doing it, if that is your intention for doing it, it won't satisfy you even if you get there. And actually, if you do it for a deeper reason, you'll probably get there faster and you'll be happier when you actually receive it. And so one thing for me is, and I work on this every day, it's not that I've mastered it, but every day I'm working on my intention to always be of service, to always want to help.
Rule number 8, meet incredible people.
I was really fortunate to meet incredible people when I was young. I met a few people that absolutely transformed my life. I'm eternally indebted to them, grateful to them, and I owe it all to them. And so I give all my success to them. You know, without meeting those amazing mentors and those phenomenal thought leaders and thinkers who are not famous, who are not known, who are not present, like they're not in the social media world, they're not big names or whatever. Those people, if I never met them, none of this would have happened. And
I can see the emotion in your face when you say this.
Yeah, I really, we skipped it earlier, but I just feel like the gratitude that I have for people who saw potential in me when I didn't see it in myself. That is just the greatest gift you can give to someone. Like I today have self-awareness and I have confidence and I know who I am. And I wasn't always like that. Like there were tons of years where I was insecure and, I was bullied for being overweight and I was bullied for being the only Indian at school. And there was so much like baggage to do with just my body, how language I used and all this kind of stuff. And to have someone notice that you may have something, I mean, you've had that, and that is just, you like honor that person for the rest of your life. And the best thing is those people don't even want it. So, the best thing about all of this is the people there are not going, oh yeah, we did that. They're actually saying, no, it's not us, like it's you. And I think that's the beauty of that. So I have to say that it's important that I share that answer, not because I'm trying to give a more strategic answer, but I think it's important because it is a big part of it. And so that would be the monks that I met, it would be the coaches that I met, the guides that I met. Looking at it from a very practical, strategic standpoint, shifting now, my parents forced me to go to public speaking and drama school when I was 11 years old. And I really didn't want to go because I was shy, I was unconfident, I was insecure about being on stage or being in a public setting. I actually loved acting growing up. I really enjoyed acting and doing theater and things like that, where I was playing another character. But being myself on stage, that was the last thing I wanted to do. And my parents saw that and they saw that as something that I should work on. So they forced me and my school to enroll me in a public speaking course. So from the age of 11 through to the age of 18, for 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, so 9 hours a week, for 7 years, I went to public speaking school.
Really?
For 7 years of my life, I went to public speaking school.
Wow.
So when I look back at my ability to communicate, my ability to understand ideas, and by the way, public speaking school is examination based too. So we had exams where they would give you a topic 15 minutes before. You have 15 minutes to research a topic from the books in the room that they give you because there was no smartphone at the time when we were 11, 12 years old. And you'd have to create a speech in 15 minutes about that subject from the books that were in the room. You had to read from a book that you'd never read before. They'd pick a random page and they'd ask you to read it out. So the examination of a public, and this was at the London Academy of Music, Drama and Arts. It's called LAMDA. And that's where I studied for 7 years. So that's a very strategic skill set that I had the time to develop thanks to my parents. Without my parents, none of that would have ever happened. And I think that's a big part of why people hopefully appreciate how I communicate ideas, because I've spent a lot of time understanding communication. But when I was 18, I had nothing to talk about. So even though I had all these tools and skills, I didn't really use them because I didn't care about anything. So sure, I gave a good presentation at university and work experience and an internship, but it was never something that brought me to life. And so then when I met the monks and I got an opportunity to study the Vedas, which are 5,000 years old, and again, we were put through rigorous study. We sat down, we had to learn verses, we had to analyze purports, commentaries on ancient scriptures, we had to do comparative analysis of religions and tradition. Like when I was a monk, we were massively trained in philosophical analysis. And that to me gave me a real strength and confidence in these ideas. So some of the ideas I present today that may sound simple, they're based on these really ancient, deep truths that I've had the time to grapple with the greats who really understand them. So that to me is a big benefit I've had, where I've had 3 years of complete dedication to studying philosophy, and not just studying the intellectual areas, but the practical and the applicable areas as well. So thanks to my monk teachers who gave me that.
Rule number 9, make your sleep better.
Can you tell me what you do for sleep, since this was an add-on to the time acronym? What's your sleep schedule, and what's your do you have a bedtime and a wake-up routine?
Yeah, for sure. So I love Ariana's book, Sleep Revolution, too. I think it's unbelievable if you really want to convince yourself that sleep is important, because I think a lot of us undervalue sleep, or we undervalue sleep before midnight. We undervalue quality sleep. We don't understand what it means. And so I think it's really important. And I think she has a line in there that says something like, "This is how you sleep your way to the top." And she talks about how successful people can sleep their way to the top, which I love. But yeah, so for me, sleep is, for a long time, obviously living as a monk, we didn't sleep for long, but we meditated for long periods of time, which kind of created that deep sense of rest. But now that I don't have that, I have a very simple schedule where I sleep by 10 p.m. and I'm up at 6 a.m. And I really find that 8 hours and 15 minutes, to be exact, is like my sweet time. And I've noticed that, and I've measured that, and I've checked that to see what works for me. Because at times when I had 7 to 9 hours, I was like, all right, let me sleep for 7 and get up and be fine. And I was experimenting with 7.5 hours, and I found that actually for me to be my optimal, 8 hours and 15 minutes is my sweet spot. And for a lot of people, they're like, wow, you're sleeping a lot. That's a lot of time. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm at my best. Like, that's what I want. Why would I want to sleep 7, have an extra hour and 15 minutes, but then lose 4 hours because I'm unproductive and unhappy and not at my best? That's the opportunity cost that you have to measure. See, we're measuring, like, what could I do with 1 hour and 15 minutes? My question to you is, what's your energy during that 1 hour and 15 minutes that you gained from taking it away from your sleep? And I believe that the ability to be productive in less time is more powerful than to spread it over more time. So I do that. 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. is when I wake up usually. I've trained myself after that 8 hours, 15 minutes. I know that's how much I'm going to sleep, so I don't wake up to an alarm. I really enjoy waking up without an alarm. If you need an alarm because I don't sleep in or snooze in, by the way. I'm up at that time because my body's now used to it. But one thing I'd recommend is don't wake up to your phone, and don't have your phone in your bedroom before you go to bed. So get a real alarm clock. I remember ordering, when I first did this, a little Timex alarm clock, and I would lock my phone and my laptop in my car outside so that I wouldn't even go to them. So I would lock them the night before because it was so easy for me to just leave my phone there. And so when I wake up in the morning, again, I can't look at my phone. My alarm wakes me up. And this is one thing I'd really add. The sound you wake up to is so important for your mental state. And this is not spoken about enough. Most of the sounds that wake up stuff in the morning, whether it's your mom or dad shouting at you, or whether it's a really annoying alert tone, which most phones have, those are actually shocking you into being awake. You're now waking up with anxiety, and now you're carrying that anxiety throughout the day. Waking up to nature sounds, waking up to calming sounds, waking up to the sound of a gong or cymbals or ocean sounds, like sounds like that are so much better for you to wake up to. Because imagine literally imagine trying to, how many cars can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2 to 3 seconds? Not many. And when you're putting your foot on the gas like that with a jolt and a shock, your body's now waking up in shock. And so I would really be careful about the first thing you see in the morning and the first thing you hear in the morning, because those two things, those senses are so powerful.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is become more disciplined.
I would say my life is purposeful, which has both elements. So what I mean by that is, my life is easy because I know what I want to do, what I stand for, I know what I believe in. But it's difficult because I have to put in hours, I have to put in work, I have to be organized, I have to live a disciplined life. But discipline, funnily enough, actually makes life easier. So people think discipline is difficult, but the result of discipline is that life becomes easier. And so waking up every day and meditating or going to the gym is difficult. It's difficult. It's not easy. It's challenging. But the result of that is life becomes easier. So I'd say that I'm dedicated to difficult discipline, but that, because it's purposeful and it has meaning, makes life easier to live. If that answers your question.
It does.
Yeah.
But and I'm asking you this for selfish reasons because I have difficult days even today, with so many blessings around me, established businesses. There are days where I'll wake up not feeling completely motivated / not feeling completely worthy. I'm just asking you this kind of as a younger brother.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro.
Do you
For sure. I still have that. I wake up days where I feel stressed, where I feel under pressure, where I feel like I've just got so much to do and, you know, I haven't got the support I need, or, you know, all of that. Like I experience all of that. And what I say to people is that training your mind and your body is not about never feeling that way again. It's not that one day that won't happen. It's that you let it affect you for less time. So in the past, you and me, maybe when bad things would happen, you'd be thinking about it for like a whole month. But now when something happens, you think about it for a week. And then in a year from now, you'll think about it for one day. And then in a year from now, you'll think about it for 1 hour. And then a year from now, you'll think about it for 1 minute. And that's the goal. The goal is not to never feel stress. The goal is to feel it for less and less time. Because the point is that most of us allow stress and pressure to consume us. And so the less you let it consume you is the goal. But the problem is that when you have the goal that I should wake up and feel perfect every day, that goal puts its own pressure and stress into your life. So I wake up, man, I'm with you. Like, as you said, as a younger brother, which I appreciate you saying, that means a lot to me. But as an older brother, like, I would say, dude, I feel stressed. I feel pressure. I still have bad mood swings sometimes, but that's part of it. And that reminds you how far you have to go. And it keeps you humble and it keeps you grounded. And also it helps you empathize with people more. Because if you never felt that way, and then someone tells me, if a young person comes up to me and says, Jay, I feel stressed. And I'm like, oh, come on, just get over it. Like, there is no such thing as stress. That's not true. And so I find that when I feel stressed or fearful or anxious, I explore it a little deeper so that next time someone says that to me, I can actually feel empathy and compassion for them because I know how it feels. And so actually, I actually feel that going through pain is the best thing for a content creator, because that's how you truly empathize with people. If you don't go through pain, then you can never relate to anyone.